Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of NCIS Season 19, Episode 14. This episode is titled First Steps. Don't worry, this is not a Rickroll. There is no Rick Astley music that is going to come on at some point during this.
Just during the episode with Jimmy, and it was nice to have a little Jimmy moment where we actually got to have a laugh and a
Yes.
smile after the last episode, which was really intense. So good. 10 out of 10. It was
Yeah.
nice to see him sort of coming out of that and having a laugh.
I do have a beef for this episode in the context of what happened in the last episode, but in general, and we'll get to that at some point. Thematically, we just had a story with Jimmy about a father and a daughter, and it's like thematically we carried that through this time. It is Vance and his daughter Kayla.
And I love Vance. If you've been watching our NCIS for a while,
Yeah.
you know that like Jimmy and Vance, they're my guys. I love them. So for me, there was a lot of really good stuff in this episode that I just absolutely loved, like the Vance interrogation room. Oh my God. It was really intense. I love it when we actually get these Rocky Carroll like sort of spotlights. They're so good. He's such a great actor.
Well, before we talk more about Rocky Carroll and Vance and Kayla and all this stuff, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other NCIS reviews. It seems like we've got a pretty eventful upcoming few weeks with this show after that super long hiatus, and we don't want you to miss any of that coverage.
And also follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. All right, so
Yeah.
let's sort of just talk overall picture.
Okay.
I really like Kayla. I liked her so much. The actress is great. The character was great. It was just really refreshing to see a new Probie there. We haven't had that in a very long time. And it's nice to just have fresh perspective, someone who's brand new, who's seeing things with just big bright eyes, like when she was leaving the bullpen for the first time and she was just like the biggest smile on her face. They're all going to look at a murder.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. I was like, it's just nice to see that sort of inspirational, happy, really glad to be at the job no matter what the job is, excited to start work. And I just think that she did a great job with this.
Kayla, I'm going to give you a little bit of credit here. I would not be that excited about going to see a murder. I'm just saying.
That's why you're not NCIS.
Clearly, this is why I'm not. This episode was very much an out of body experience for me in that sort of way. Because I'm like living through the eyes of this person who is just like so young and spry and excited. And to be, let's be clear, I'm not putting myself in any situation that could lead to me being like captured from bad guys and being like kidnapped as a result of it. I'm good being here at home.
Okay, so that was my actual beef with this episode is it felt extremely predictable that that is where we were going with this story. From the minute that Vance went to Torres and was like, listen, Kayla's coming in. I want her first case to be with you guys, but I want you to watch over her. They go out to start talking to people. Torres is like, you need to sit in the car. Of course, she's not going to sit in the car. So I was like, okay, so they're setting up that she's going to end up getting taken by whichever bad guy, which is exactly what happened. And I was like, all right, we've kind of seen this story play out a bunch of times on this show, on many shows. But it did lead to one of my favorite moments this season, which is Vance going into the interrogation room and just screaming his head off to get his daughter back.
Yeah, that moment was great. And I have a weird relationship with the stay in the car moment because it was Chuck is one of my favorite shows, and it was such a recurring thing on Chuck that I would always tell Chuck to stay in the car like every single episode, and he never would. And I think if I was a rational person, I would have probably been booing at the screen with this, like you said, super predictable. But I just had Chuck flashbacks the whole time, so I was just like, oh, this reminds me of a show I really like, even if we've seen this 2,000 times.
Yeah, but it did end up leading to sort of at the end of the episode, of course, she is fine.
Yeah.
I think we all expected she would be. And we see her down in the bullpen with everyone kind of, high-fiving and, being like, hey, you're part of the team. You did great today, all that sort of stuff. And Vance looking down on her interacting with everybody. And he had this smile on his face where I was like, are we actually getting a Probie on the show? Are we going to have her be part of this? That he's kind of like, okay, She's going to do this whether I want her to or not. I trust my team, and my team came through where, you know, this horrible thing happened to my daughter. Everybody came together. They got her out of it. So if she's going to do this, I'd like her to be with the team sort of thing.
Okay.
But then, of course, we didn't get that.
I do want a Probie on NCIS, though. I am
think
like
it would
you.
be fun.
Yeah, it could be really, really fun. And, you know, come on, let's have a moment of honesty here. Mark Harmon's not in every episode anymore. You guys may have a little bit more money that you haven't had in the past.
Yeah, Mark is still in the credits, and we've been over that before of why he is still in the credits. You know, we'll link that video below if we can figure out where it is. It's been a while because people were talking about, you know, why is he still in the credits? Is he still coming back? And it's just part of the contract. And, you know, David's still in the credits too. We haven't seen him in forever, but I just think there's room for a Probie to come in. Like, there just is. And she doesn't have to be at one of the 4 desks. She can be at another desk, but in the bullpen, you know, or standing around when it's time to eat pastries. It was just, it felt good and it felt right. And I was like, it's exciting to have this. But of course, I mean, this is Vance's daughter. It does lead for a huge complication with this. He may always kind of just be over her shoulder. And as, you know, her boss, it doesn't always work out. But I would have loved it. I would have let that go.
All right, it's theory time here. So this is what's going to happen, everyone. And I say this not actually knowing what's going to happen, but this is what's going to happen. They specifically put this line in here from Vance where he's like, I'm going to assign you to a different field office. Oh, it just so happens that there are other NCIS shows that feature field offices. We have Los Angeles, Hawaii, and then there's also a show in development that's set in Australia for like Paramount Plus. I don't think she's going to Australia. It seems like that's like an international show sort of deal. But my feeling on this is that maybe it will be at the crossover at the end of this month. Maybe it'll be down the road. I think we are going to see Kayla in Hawaii because for some reason NCIS proper pretends like NCIS Los Angeles doesn't even exist anymore. Like there's never.
It's odd.
Yeah. So I just feel like she's going to go over to Hawaii. We will see her again. And this will be sort of their way to incorporate the 2 shows because there's nothing networks love more. And I say this with a massive finger wag at ABC with your Station 19 Grey's Anatomy crossover nonsense. They love to force you to watch both shows.
They do. But you know, if this is just sort of an introduction for us to see Kayla out in the field and how good she can be and how she was able to negotiate her way out of stuff, that, you know, I've become interested in her. It's a good way to have one audience become interested and invested in a character in a short period of time, one episode, to then if she does go over to another show, be like, hey, well, I already know her and I really like her. So I'll give it a chance. It's of course a good idea.
One of the things I also did appreciate about this episode is that it's like the second straight, really, I guess the third straight episode. I feel like Torres has had some interesting developments because I feel like, you know, this was Kayla's sort of training mission, but it was also Torres's like leadership training mission where he has to sort of guide Kayla in the field. Even at the end of the episode, he's like, I want your report. And I was just thinking, is Torres starting to become a little bit more like Gibbs all of a sudden?
He's definitely becoming like Uncle Nick with everybody because last week we had him with Jimmy's daughter. This week he's with Vance's daughter. He's just like everybody's daughter's mentor.
Yeah, who would have ever thought rebellious Nick Torres, who, you know, I think you even talked about this in the last episode, had an art class fight with Jimmy Palmer, and all of a sudden he is like the elder statesman and like the leadership figure.
He is, and I think it's just everybody sees past his tough exterior and they know that inside he truly loves and cares about this team. So even when Vance was like, I trust you with my daughter, I bet you never hear that. And he's kind of like, yeah, you right. That it's just like but we do trust you because we know how much you love this team. And, you know, even with Vance, everybody just saw how good he is with Victoria. So, you know, why not trust with Kayla as well? And it all worked out.
We also got like a little more of the picture of Jessica Knight in this episode. It turns out that her dad is also very, very much a part of this world and that, he didn't always approve or want her to be going into this either.
Yeah, we've learned a lot about Jessica and her family
Yeah.
over the, past few episodes. And it feels like it is really kind of fractured. Like, her dad didn't want her to get involved with this. She doesn't seem to have this great relationship with her mom. She's trying to be this good aunt, but she's really crap with kids. So she's not doing that great there either. It's just, she's definitely developing as like, why is she having such a difficult time with almost every family member, even though she's so great with the team and she's really trying to like develop something with the team? We really need more of a Jessica Knight episode to really understand what's going on with her and her family.
Yeah, can we cast some of these people NCIS? Because it's the classic writing rule of show, don't tell us you have told us all of these things and you have not shown us any of them. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to get to know her a bit more.
All right, now we get to my beef with this episode. And really, it's a storytelling thing. So you guys come up with this big, here you go, quote the Raven, nevermore thing at the end of this past episode. And we were so excited and being like, it's an arc. They're finally giving us an arc. And
They
then
are.
it was like, oh, we're not actually even going to address the arc in this episode. We're going to completely pretend like it never happened. And I get it. This is a procedural. I understand all of that. But like, if something that big is hanging over the team, can't you just like include like a 5-second exposition of, hey, have you gotten any more leads on this? Oh, no, we're going to keep looking into it. And then the new case arrives. Like, it's not that hard.
I thought your beef was going to be about the untold zebra drinking wine story.
Okay,
that just never got told, where I was like, I'm all right with that. It reminds me of sort of the Raymond Reddington storyteller where you don't always get the whole story, but you get part of the story and it's kind of fun and funny, the big fish story. But I expected not to learn anything more about the Raven at this point. It is a procedural. We are going to get an arc. I don't know this from like they've said it, but clearly they said it on the show. He's still out there. It's going to pop up again, but it isn't going to pop up right away. It's a slow ride. You know this.
We've already been over this in these videos. I am the delusional person who keeps expecting this show to change and do something different, and then I'm disappointed every single time. I do agree with you though about Parker. I feel like there is no ending to this story that will ever be able to justify what I have pictured now in my head. So I hope we never know, so I am never disappointed.
Killer zebras that have broken into a winery that are in there drinking and doing drugs. I don't even know where this story could possibly go, but these stories and his pastries and just, he's so fun to watch.
He's so weird. Like
he is so weird.
Yeah, I really didn't. I will be honest. I was really hesitant about the show without Gibbs, and I was really worried they were going to make Parker Gibbs 2.0. But I think they've honestly done a good job. It's not the same show, but it's still an interesting show.
No, and I mean, the show has changed and developed in different ways over time. We've lost big cast members many times off of the show. Yeah, not Mark, but still. It impacts the show and it changes it in a different way, and change isn't always bad.
All right, well, we've had our fun with this episode, but of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys can continue having fun with us talking about NCIS. We love reading what you have to say in the comments. Also follow us on Instagram at MattandJessTV, and we will see you here next time.